Hey everybody, this is another update from Great Lakes Weather. Let's put my camera out here. Another just quick forecast update. The time is 4:08 p.m. and it is March 22nd. Tomorrow we have another thing to discuss regarding the potential for severe weather that has just appeared as a result of the Storm Prediction Center's new release. We are going to take a look at two different models that will kind of give us an idea of what could be happening. This is for North Indiana, kind of Ohio, southern Ohio. This includes the Cedarville region where this shot was taken. And if you can see the shot, I'm going to move my camera over here. If you look on the bottom left hand of your screen right there, you're going to be able to see the potential wall cloud that I shot just a couple years ago at Cedarville University. This is the kind of weather we could see. Now, again, there's a low chance of tornadoes, but this shot was also shot during a slight risk, which is what is taking place tomorrow as well. So we're going to go through all the models that kind of give an idea of what could be happening with regards to this system. I'm really glad I got that shot from a while ago. Alright, but first, just a reminder, you can always take a look at all of our different platforms and subscribe to all of our different platforms there. YouTube, Instagram, True Social, Twitter, Facebook. We're also available on Telegram. Telegram we're not really active on, but you can always check us there. If you live in Southwest Michigan, you can text that code to 81010, and if you are watching on desktop, scan that QR code with your phone, and that will get you signed in to the website, which will let you see all of our different platforms and just quickly and easily connect to our platforms. Alrighty, let's get into what is happening with the weather. Alright, so this is the HRRR model, a good model to use when looking at the specific storm activity that's going to be taking place. The big news story throughout the past week has been this line of thunderstorms right down here in the southern U.S. that's really just been rampaging across Mississippi at the current time with some tornadoes. We saw a lot of tornado touchdowns from this system in eastern Texas yesterday. Quite a few good shots of some different tornadoes and a lot of damage, which is very unfortunate, but this system is what we're going to be anticipating the potential for severe weather from, as well as they continue to see some weather down on that southern edge as well. So we are going to go through all of that, but first we need to zoom in on our location. Let's go to the regional map. Again, this is Pivotal Weather's website, so this is a good place to look at in regards to this. One thing I failed to look at was the Storm Prediction Center. Storm Prediction Center. Alright, so you've seen the moderate risk already that's been going through as a result of this strong cold front that's been really just fueled by all kinds of different ingredients. We are looking at tomorrow's severe weather potential. So tomorrow's severe weather potential puts a slight risk in most of Ohio and eastern Indiana, as well as a marginal risk in parts of southern lower Michigan. Hopefully I'll get an opportunity to go out and chase a couple of these storms. I probably won't be on the slight risk because I'm going to try to stay local for this chase, but the slight risk area for severe weather is there, not a pretty low tornado risk in this region. There's a 2% risk. Again, that shot I just showed you was filmed in a 2% risk area, so that's just something to be aware of. Winds are really the primary threat in the Great Lakes region, and the potential for some hail as well. So pretty much all severe hazards are possible with this, but the chances are not really that high for our area. So really the bigger concern is the moderate risk that's being faced down in the southern part of the U.S. at the current present time. Alright, let's take a look at the models real quick. So this is the HRRR regional model. You can see the low pressure system that's beginning to lift eastward across our area. You can see on the backside there's even some snow forming with it. This is the current time. This is the most recent model run of the HRRR. Let's go through what's going to happen. So we're getting into Wednesday morning right here about midnight on Wednesday. Rain really moves in. Rain's just going to continue to fall. Maybe a few thunderstorms on the tail end side of it in northern Indiana. These ones won't be severe. Wow, the Upper Peninsula is going to see probably 4 to 6 inches of snow from this little collection right up in here. So that's going to be something that you're going to want to keep an eye on if you live up in that region. Maybe some freezing rain in parts of Wisconsin on that northern edge with that nice cold air on the northern side of it. So it's going to continue to progress northeastward, and then we're going to start to get into the midday on Wednesday. We can see the development of these little cells here. These little cells are what we could potentially see some severe weather with. The HRR doesn't really put out as many severe cells, but they do put out some cell development with a marginal severe risk in southern lower Michigan, and then if we go into Ohio where the slight risk area is The Cedarville region, again, marginal severe risk pretty much all across this area. And then on the central part of Ohio, you got that tornado risk that really kind of ramps up based on the current models. Again, the cloud bases are going to be kind of low in giving the opportunity for tornadoes to form a little more easily because they don't have to reach too far down. So that LCL height there is something to be aware of. But you go into northern Indiana as well, you get that marginal severe risk. Again, cloud bases are getting a little low in that area. So something to just keep an eye on. Potential for tornadoes and damaging wind gusts from these cells that might develop here. And then they may intensify a little bit until we get to the evening. And by the time we lose the sun, it likely will begin to die out, and we will only see a marginal severe risk. So not really a significant threat for severe weather, but then again, there is a threat for severe weather, including more likely the tornado risk is going to be centralized to Ohio, the Ohio region for our tornado risk. That includes the Cedarville area and maybe a potential for some in northern Indiana as well. All right, so that's the HRRR. It's just showing you the potential for some thunderstorms to move through. They'll begin to die out as they rotate off to the north. Not really going to be able to sustain themselves as they enter the colder air up on the northern side, and they just weaken and die out. And then that low pressure system begins to truck through, and we may see a few snowflakes on Thursday, but we'll have to see what goes down with that. All right, so this model is kind of on the lower end for the potential for severe weather, but it does put it out. This is the NAM model, the NAM 3K model. This kind of also is a good model to use for forecasting severe weather. Again, I'm not an official forecaster, but these are good models to look at. You want to go to the SPC for the official forecast for that, but they put out a slight risk. So, all right, NAM, this is what they're showing right now. This is the current time, so as we get towards sunset, let's actually move to the 18Z run. Okay, the 18Z run isn't really fully developed just yet, but I think we'll still be able to get what we want. So you got that line of stronger storms that's going to die out over parts of southern Indiana this evening and tonight. That's what that model's putting out. Again, not really sustaining really any strong severe weather with that. And then we get into Wednesday morning. The rain again, consistent with the previous model. Rain moving through parts of Michigan, northern Indiana, Ohio. All those regions are going to see rain as this moves through. Got some freezing rain, maybe some wintry mix in parts of Mackinac. This model puts it out a little bit differently, but it's going to transition to snow later. We're getting into Wednesday afternoon now. That's really the time frame we can see some severe weather develop. And we got some cells that are beginning to form and beginning to appear on the model graph, connected right with that low pressure system. NAM's putting out a stronger tornado risk for pretty much most of this area. Marginal tornado risk. Again, conditions are a little bit favorable for that. We'll look at the favorable conditions in just a minute. But looking at these models, yeah, tornado risk pretty much across the southern Great Lakes region, and then it gets more to a marginal severe risk as you get into southern lower Michigan, as those storms won't really be able to sustain themselves as they get off to the north. But if we look here, I want to really get a pinpoint of this storm here. Again, not really showing any threat for severe weather later on as we get towards the evening hours, and then they just start to weaken and die out, unable to sustain themselves without the sunlight. So instability is kind of a key player in the role of the development of these storms as well, because you're not really connected to the main line where all the fuel for these storms is at. But let's go to the severe weather graphics that are shown. I'm going to load up the 18Z run so we can get a better idea. This is the same run that we looked at. This is just showing the composite reflectivity, so it's not really showing it in terms of the type of precipitation, but it's just showing the what the radar might look like with regards to where these bigger cells might be located. So let's pull up the CAPE. CAPE is going to be a big issue here. CAPE is a measure of instability in the atmosphere. So you're looking at CAPE, you're looking at a mixture of sunlight, moisture that comes together to produce thunderstorms, maybe the potential for some stronger ones. CAPE is looking more likely in parts of Ohio and northern Indiana. Southern Michigan may have a little bit of CAPE, but I don't think it's going to be too much. Really, the bigger concern is when that CAPE reaches eastern Ohio. I think the storms will really be more targeting parts of west central Ohio, west lower Ohio, where that cape is really starting to fuel itself. You're going to have more sunshine down there, which will enable heating of the surface, which will enable more potential for development of severe thunderstorms. And let's take a look at the supercell composite, the potential for supercell development from these storms. If we go back to really the supercell composite that the model is putting out is not very high compared to the previous run, so that might be a positive thing to pay attention to, but it does put out the potential for some supercell development. Significant tornado parameters, again, any tornado that touches down won't be super significant. I'm not expecting anything extreme from this system. So really just more often it's going to be like just normal general thunderstorms, but there may be one that pops up and that could be severe, and you might want to just take shelter for if it comes through. So just something to be aware of as these storms move through. Shear is just going to really follow along. Again, in eastern Ohio, you're going to have that shear where that front really hasn't pushed itself through yet. That shear is really going to drive a lot of these storms as well into becoming more tornadic. So that's why the tornado risk is more centralized, I think, in parts of western Ohio, central Ohio. I think those places are more likely to see severe weather than parts of Indiana and lower Michigan. So again, I'm not a professional expert, but that is just what I'm looking at based on the models. So something to just pay attention to. Updraft helicity is a good measure of potential of some tornadoes to develop in a particular region. There is a little bit in some spots, but it doesn't look like it's really going to be not going to be too much helicity in this region. It looks like there's some pretty good helicity in Indiana as it appears on, but again, this measures the potential paths that a tornado could possibly have during this time frame. So not many. Usually, the reason why the severe risk is so great down in southern is when you pull up a map like this, it's just everywhere. These updraft helicity graphics are everywhere. But really, it doesn't show too much in terms of updraft helicity. I think the greatest chance of seeing a tornado would be in this blue strip here, where eastern Indiana going into western Ohio, and then there's more potential updraft helicities in the parts of Ohio that I, again, expect more severe weather to occur than in these places on the west side. So that's just a thing to be aware of. Hopefully this video gave you some information that you may not have been aware of. Again, my previous forecast said, I don't think these storms are going to get too bad, but the Storm Prediction Center is thinking, well, now it's looking like these storms could crop up and produce a couple things. So we're going to keep an eye out on this, and I'll do some live streams if anything gets too hectic. If we happen to see some severe weather in southern lower Michigan, northern Indiana, I will likely be out and about checking those storms out, getting some footage of them for finally the first time, getting some footage of the season. Looking forward to that. So we'll just see how this crops out, and hopefully you got some good information here, and just stay safe as you are out and about tomorrow, and keep an eye on the weather, especially if you live in Ohio and extreme eastern Indiana. All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and perhaps I will see you tomorrow.